Let's shift focus back to the story we were tracking on the issue of gay marriages in India. For years, most political parties have failed to make their commitments clear on this issue. LGBTQ rights have become a movement world over. Pride walks and rainbow filters aside, real-life change has been little and rare. But now the Supreme Court is stepping up. The top court has served a second notice on the same-sex marriage to the centre. This is within 2 weeks of the first one. The Chief Justice of India, Justice Chandrachud, also says that he will consider live streaming the hearing. The Supreme Court's decision to accept the petition marks the first step in a process that could take years. Like I said, just today, you had the United States government formally passing the bill legalizing same-sex marriage in the US. But many see this entire issue as the first big step in the years-long struggle. Remember, the decriminalization of same-sex relations happened only in 2018. And at that time, of course, it was said that the next step would be legalizing gay marriage, and that is what the fight is for. Ironically, the top court comes on a day, like I said, when US had signed the same-sex marriage bill that ensures federal protection for same-sex marriages across the country. Harish is with us first to tell us more about what happened in court. Harish, in terms of the notices served to the centre, explain to us the process and the procedure that is involved here. We know that petition after petition have been filed, and the Supreme Court has not once but on multiple occasions served notices to the union government.
Yes, that's right. A very significant development as far as the same-sex marriage issue is concerned. You are right. It was on November 25th that the Supreme Court first entertained such a petition and sought the view of the centre. And today, 2 more petitions were before the bench led by Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. He has once again sought the views of the centre and posted the matter for 4 weeks later. That is from given 4 weeks time to the centre to file the reply. And very significantly, as you rightly said, one of the senior lawyers, Anand Grover, who had appeared for one of the petitioners, said it's a very important issue. Many are interested in this, so Supreme Court should even consider live streaming the proceedings. Then Chandrachud, the Chief Justice, replied that once the final hearing begins, we will consider your request for live streaming. Today, these petitions, in fact, extensively cited the Supreme Court judgment decriminalizing the homosexual acts, and also the Puttaswamy judgment in which right to privacy was declared a fundamental right. These 3 petitions have extensively quoted from these judgments and also said that these same-sex marriages should be recognized under the Special Marriages Act. And as far as the Special Marriages Act, as it stands today, is concerned, it's in contravention and violative to the right to equality insofar as it discriminates same-sex couple against the opposite-sex couple as far as legal rights.
That is, according to the petitioners, a violation of a fundamental right. All citizens are equal before law, like I said in the opening of the show. Harish, thanks for joining us. Let me go across to my guest this evening now. Joining us here on the program is Mr. Harish Iyer, equal rights activist, and Dr. Kapil Sankla, Supreme Court lawyer. Very good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Kapil Sankla, you know, this is not asking for much from what I can see. The petitioners here are simply saying that why cannot you recognize a marriage under the Special Marriages Act when under a fundamental right we are allowed to marry a partner of our choosing? Now, is it now purely a gender thing that has become, a bone of contention here?
I'm afraid not. Although I think this is an idea whose time has come. There are, I think, 18 countries in the world who recognize same-sex marriages, if not more. US has reiterated the law once again.
Yes.
The courts in Honorable Supreme Court, as well as various courts, have also over the years kind of shown the way that they are progressing towards same-sex marriages. We know that 377 is decriminalized. There have been a lot of other issues about updating the laws to actually take into consideration same-sex marriages. So how I understand is that the Honorable Supreme Court would be in favor of same-sex marriages, of course, considering various other issues. Having said that, now comes the problem. You know, the narrative is very simple. You should definitely be allowed. You have the fundamental right to choose your partner. though
Yes.
it is incorrect to say that you have a fundamental right to marriage. There is no fundamental right to marriage. Section 16 says that you're equal before law. This is a reiteration of the precedents that say that you have a right to get married to anyone whom you choose. This is the Shafi Jahan judgment, etc.
But
So
nowhere
in
does
light
it
of that,
say
we
that,
would now say,
there is a gender as long as it's of the opposite gender. That is not mentioned in the law, is it? Does it qualify
I'm sorry,
when the
can you
law
repeat
says
what
you
you
can...
just said?
No, I said that when the law says you can marry a person of your choosing, does it also specify and
Yes.
say as long as it is of the opposite gender? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't say that. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that, see, as a lawyer, I might personally say that you should allow it.
Yes.
But as a lawyer, I also see that there are certain landmines that we need to deal with right now. For example, just for example, how I read the customary laws, Hindu laws, I don't see a huge problem because you're actually dealing with bride and bridegroom. All right. So as far as Hindu laws is concerned, when you actually tweak it, I don't see a lot of difficulty. But when you actually think of Muslim laws, it's supposed to be a criminal offense, punishable by death. So how do you deal with that? That's one. So then your argument is that you bring in uniform civil code, for example. What are the ramifications pertaining to that? Then you talk about Christian laws. Now, Christian laws, again, very easy. It doesn't really deal with same-sex marriages or doesn't really say that it's not allowed. But it says union of a man and a woman. So how do you deal with that? That's again a question that you need to be aware of. As a lawyer, you just can't say, oh, optics are right, we should do it. You should know the law as well.
This is a very
Then you're
important
talking
point
about,
you're
for example,
making.
Indian
Yes.
Penal Code. Thank you.
Yes.
And then you're talking about 377 that partly decriminalized. What happens in marriage? It is still used. So when a man or a woman considers themselves to be opposite in the hierarchy as a man and a woman or a bride and bridegroom, I'm sorry, then the difficulty would be, are you also reading, for example, domestic violence laws, which only protect the women? What about same-sex marriages that do not want to conform to bride and bridegroom? And there are two brides getting married or two bridegrooms getting married. Two
No, my
husbands,
simple
two
point
wives.
is, Kapil Sankla, that we can come to the bridge, we can cross the bridge when we come to it. Let's first at least get started with giving legal
No, I'm sorry.
sanctity
That
to the
I'm
marriage.
Sorry. I'm sorry, but that's the dangerous thing. Please understand this. If you do not make a holistic change, you're setting yourself to failure.
Okay, fair
If you
point.
do not make a holistic change, that protection. When you talk about, for example, rape, rape is only banned to a woman. What happens if it's the opposite? What happens if two women are married or two men are married?
So,
Then they
okay,
do not
let
get
me
the
have
protection
Harish
of rape
Iyer
laws
come
or
in.
marital
So,
rape laws.
right. Mr. Harish Iyer, so from what I can understand, that we cannot look at the issue from a narrow prism of only granting legal sanction to gay marriages. As Mr. Sankla was explaining to us, this is going to open a plethora of issues. And the government of the day has the responsibility to settle all of those things before it comes to a point where it reaches a point where it can legalize gay marriages. Are you convinced with this argument?
I think, Afrida, that time has come that we don't sit on the fence, but we take a stand. The government of the day, whichever government it is, needs to take a stand, and it needs to be very clear, unequivocal in stating that it stands for LGBT rights or it doesn't stand for LGBT rights. There is no sitting on the fence.
No, but you just heard, Mr. Iyer, that there is the UCC angle to it. And you may be perhaps happy to know that the current dispensation is very keen to bring in UCC. Maybe there is a chronology that has to be followed here. You cannot put the cart before the horse for the reasons that Dr. Kapil Sankla explained to us.
No. The reasons that Dr. Kapil Sankla explained are actually true. We require the whole gamut of... we do need. It's not just gay marriages, and one of the things that was a part of the debate when we were, the government's view when the Section 377 case was heard as well, they also mentioned that it's only for for the decriminalization that they don't have, that they'll go by the Supreme Court's verdict, but they will have an case. So yes, we need the whole gamut of things, but we definitely need to start from somewhere. If Uniform Civil Code is the thing, there could be another Uniform Civil Code law that comes to play as well. And we need to start
because
somewhere.
there is a religiosity aspect to it. There is no
religiosity.
homogeneity when it comes to different religious communities. So, in a way, the process of consultation, the debate, the discussion must continue. I agree with you. I'm completely out of time here. Quickly, yes, Mr. Iyer, quickly finish your point.
The point that I'm making is that the whole gamut, we are not going to rest until we get equal rights in its complete measure.
Yes.
So the ball has been set rolling, and we will have to get every right that a heterosexual couple gets.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a fair ask, and I appreciate and respect, when you say that. Harish Iyer, thank you so much for joining us. Kapil Sankla, appreciate your giving us your time today.
Thank you.